In the heart of the 1980s, a band emerged from the Sunset Strip that would go on to define the era of excess and decadence in rock and roll. This is the story of Motley Crue. In the city of Angels, Los Angeles, 1981, four distinct personalities were drawn together to form what would become a legendary rock band. Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, Mick Mars, and Tommy Lee, each with their unique background and style, united to create a musical force that would captivate audiences worldwide. Every band has its humble beginnings, and Motley Crue was no different. Their early days were marked by struggle and determination, a relentless pursuit of a shared dream. They were just four guys looking to make a name for themselves in the music scene, and they weren't going to let anything or anyone stand in their way. In 1983, Motley Crue released their second album, Shout at the Devil, which became a game-changer in the glam metal genre. This record was a sonic explosion of raw energy, unapologetically aggressive, and full of anthems that would become the soundtrack for a generation. The album was a rebellion in musical form, a loud and defiant yell in the face of conformity. Shout at the Devil was more than just an album. It was a statement of intent. It was Motley Crue announcing to the world that they were here. They were loud and they were not going anywhere. They had taken the glam metal genre, turned it up to 11, and set it on fire. The album was an audacious mix of heavy riffs, thunderous drums, and soaring vocals, all wrapped up in a package of pure, undiluted attitude. The album's title track, Shout at the Devil, became an instant classic, an anthem for those who felt marginalized and misunderstood. The song was a call to arms, a rallying cry for anyone who dared to be different, to stand up and shout in the face of adversity. Looks That Kill, another standout track from the album, was a testament to the band's ability to craft catchy, memorable songs that resonated with their fans. Its infectious rhythm and unforgettable chorus helped cement Motley Crue's place in rock history. The album's release was met with a wave of controversy. Critics were divided, some praising its audacity and originality, others condemning its apparent glorification of excess and hedonism. But the fans? They couldn't get enough. They saw in Motley Crue a reflection of their own rebellious spirit, their own desire to break free from the constraints of society. In the end, Shout at the Devil was a bold statement. It was rebellious, controversial, and it captured the essence of the era perfectly. It was the sound of a band at the height of their creative powers, unafraid to push boundaries and challenge expectations. And it remains to this day a cornerstone of the Motley Crue legacy. A Motley Crue was notorious for their off-stage antics as much as their on-stage performances. They weren't just musicians. They were rock and roll incarnate, living out every outrageous stereotype and then some. The Crue was well known for their wild parties. Hotel rooms were trashed, televisions were thrown out of windows, and the police were regular guests. The band's antics weren't limited to their own parties, though. They crashed other people's celebrations too, sometimes with hilarious results, other times with regrettable consequences. Their offstage behavior wasn't without its dark side. Nikki Sixx, the band's bassist, was especially notorious. It's been said that he was declared clinically dead for 2 minutes after a heroin overdose before being revived by 2 adrenaline shots to the heart. This near-death experience inspired one of the band's biggest hits, Kickstart My Heart. Their propensity for excess extended to their personal lives too. Relationships were strained and broken, and the band members' health suffered. Their hedonistic lifestyle took a toll, leading to several stints in rehab and brushes with the law. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. The Crue's off-stage antics also brought them closer together. They were more than just bandmates. They were brothers in arms, united by their love of music and their desire to live life on their own terms. They were, in many ways, the epitome of the rock and roll dream. They had the fame, the fortune, and the freedom to do whatever they wanted. But they also had the struggles, the heartbreak, and the consequences that came with it. In the words of Nikki Sixx, "We were young and wild and we didn't think about the consequences. We pushed boundaries and paid the price." And oh, what a price they paid. But would they do it all again? You bet they would. Because that's what it means to be Motley Crue. To live life on the edge, to push the envelope, and to rock and roll all night and party every day. The early 90s brought turmoil for the band. Vince Neil departed and John Corabi stepped in as the new frontman. With Neil's departure, a piece of the crew's heart and soul seemed to have vanished. The band was left navigating the stormy waters of change, grappling with the loss of their lead vocalist and the challenge of reinventing their sound. John Corabi, a seasoned musician, bravely stepped into the whirlwind. Corabi brought a different energy and a new vocal style to the band, signaling a departure from the glam metal roots that had defined Motley Crue's earlier success. The band was entering uncharted territory and the anticipation was palpable. In '94, amidst the grunge revolution, Motley Crue released their self-titled album. This was a significant departure from their previous sound, featuring a more mature bluesy feel, blending hard rock with elements of grunge. Critics and fans alike were divided. Some hailed it as a bold evolution, while others yearned for the band's earlier rebellious sound. Yet the band stood united, even in the face of their detractors. They believed in their music, in their evolution, and they pushed forward. Songs like Hooligan's Holiday and Misunderstood showcased the new, raw edge that Corabi brought to the table, while still preserving the hard-rocking spirit that was quintessentially Motley Crue. The Motley Crue of the 1990s was a different beast, a band that had faced the brink of dissolution, only to rise again with renewed vigor. They had weathered the storm, transforming their trials into a testament of their resilience. The fall had been hard, but the rebirth was a powerful statement of their enduring spirit. It was a tough time for them, navigating uncertain waters and facing backlash. Yet they held onto their belief in their music, in their ability to evolve and adapt. Through it all, they emerged stronger, more resilient. After all, they were Motley Crue, a band built on defiance, on pushing boundaries, on shouting at the devil. It was a tough time for us, but we believed in the music, and we came back stronger than ever. In 2014, Motley Crue embarked on their final tour, promising to retire from the road for good after a series of spectacular shows around the world. They had given the world over 3 decades of hard-hitting rock and roll, and now they were ready to take their final bow. This tour was not a goodbye, but a celebration of their journey. It was a time to reflect on the highs and lows, the triumphs and trials, and the legacy they were leaving behind. Each concert was a testament to their enduring appeal, with fans old and new flocking to see them one last time. Fans traveled from all corners of the globe to be a part of this historic farewell. Their reactions were a mix of nostalgia, excitement, and a bittersweet sadness. They sang along to their favorite songs, cheered at the top of their lungs, and savored every moment. For the band, this final tour was a chance to thank their fans for their unwavering support. They performed with the same energy and passion that had propelled them to stardom, proving once again why they were one of the greatest rock bands of their generation. As the curtains closed on their final show, the crowd erupted into applause, a fitting tribute to the band that had given them so much. A fan, teary-eyed and full of emotion, said, "I can't believe I'm here to witness their final tour. They're legends." Motley Crue's legacy extends beyond their music. They've left an indelible mark on the world of rock and roll and continue to inspire generations of musicians and fans. Bursting onto the scene with an energy that was unrivaled, they carved a path that many would follow but few could replicate. Their influence stretches beyond the confines of their own discography. They've shaped the sound, attitude, and aesthetics of rock music, pushing the boundaries of what was considered acceptable and challenging the status quo. They were the embodiment of rebellion, their music a siren call to those seeking an escape from the mundane. Their impact on culture is equally profound. They became symbols of a generation's desire for freedom, their wild antics and larger-than-life personas capturing the public's imagination. They embodied the spirit of the '80s, a time of excess and decadence, their music providing the soundtrack to an era. But perhaps their greatest legacy is the inspiration they've given to countless musicians. They've shown what it means to stay true to oneself, to push against the grain, to shout at the devil. They've proven that with passion, determination, and a bit of rebellion, anything is possible. From the Sunset Strip to the world stage, Motley Crue will forever be remembered as one of the most iconic bands in the history of rock music.